Okay, so this is the Ninja Cooker, and it is my favorite crock pot slash sear meat combo I've ever had. Now today I'm making Guinness stew. So I have some chopped up beef here with salt, pepper, flour. I'm searing it off right now. So it actually has a sear mode, and you can see I've been using it for around 20 minutes already. It takes around 10 minutes to heat up hot enough to actually sear meat, but it does get extremely hot. Now look at all these other options. We have slow cook, sear, steam, keep warm, sous vide, braise, bake. And this is a 360 degree cooker. So this goes all the way around it, making sure it's not just heating the bottom, but heating the sides as well at the same time. You can see it's a little lifted here. Now, when we put the lid on, it also comes with this really cool utensil that sits right on top of the lid. It's a really nice little bonus. So we're gonna come back once the meat's done searing, and we'll move to the next step of cooking up our stew. Okay, so we wanna go until your meat is brown. Now I keep the lid on, and I usually let it sit there for around 3 to 4 minutes, and you'll see it's starting to get some nice crisp to it. Just brown on each side. You can move them around by your hand. You don't have to though. Make sure you keep the lid on. That's going to cook it the fastest. And once it's browned, you're gonna go ahead and put it into a separate bowl or plate. It doesn't have to be cooked through. Now look, you can see, look at that non-stick, right? There is no stick that happens on this pan whatsoever. Okay, so we have all of our meat out. We have all those lovely juices that are inside. Now you're gonna take 2 chopped onions, and I do about 4 cloves of garlic. It's entirely up to you. Just dump it right in there. Leave it on the same sear mode. We're not gonna do slow cook yet. We're gonna wait for everything to be cooked through. So you just wanna saute these until they get nice and soft. And once they get soft, so once your onions get nice and soft, we're now gonna throw in our bacon. Now you want to cook down this bacon until it gets pretty crispy at least, or starts to brown. This is going to add so much flavor with all that bacon fat. And you can see it's just sauteing perfect. But we're almost at the point where we're going to have to switch it to slow cooker pretty soon. So you really want to cook down your onions and your bacon. Like I've been cooking this for around 10 minutes now. And this still needs to go for probably another 5 minutes. The more you cook it down, the more flavor and the better consistency your stew is going to have. Instead of having super hard or a lot of pieces of onions in there, you'll just have a very concentrated flavor. Okay, so we have this worked down pretty good now, and we are going to add our carrots and celery. So this is around 3 carrots, 4 stalks of celery, smaller stalks. We're gonna add that in, and we're just about at the point where we're gonna switch it to slow cooker. So let's just give this a good mix first. Just make sure we get everything coated with all that goodness. All coated up, easy. Look at that. Got all those juices distributed, perfect. You can see how much those onions really work down. Now we need to do 3 to 4 tablespoons of flour. I just rough guess that this is a 1/4 cup. So we'll say 1, 2, we can add a little bit more. 3, we'll put it there. This is just to starch it up a little bit because we're gonna need to thicken it eventually. And if we add it now, it is going to be a little bit easier after because you're not going to have to worry about all those chunks of flour and stuff. It's all going to break down and thicken up while we cook. But we want to make sure we brown that a little bit, and we can just kind of move it around. You can see it's turning into a bit of a paste. But remember, we also floured our beef, so that has a layer of flour as well to help thicken things up. Now we're just going to cook this off for 1 minute, and while we're doing that, we can go here. We can hold down the middle button. So now we can go here, press stop, and now we can switch, and we're gonna switch it to slow cook, and we're gonna keep it on high, and from here we can adjust our time. So I'm gonna put it, let's just say a while, right? We wanna put a few hours on here at least. So we don't need quite that many hours, but we could say, we'll say 2.5 hours on there, press that start button. Now it's on slow cook mode, so this is gonna cool down quite a bit and help separate things. Now we need to add our Guinness and our broth. So we're gonna start with our Guinness. I'm gonna keep it off camera. And I'm just gonna pour that directly in. I do the Guinness first, and I usually let it cook down a little bit before we start to add our tomato paste and our broth. But you do want that really tasty flavor that you get from the Guinness all inside of here. So get all that juice out, give that can a squeeze. I just have one of those tall cans. It's around 500 milliliters. So something around there will work perfect for this. And now just move this around, and it's gonna cook out quick. So give it 2 to 3 minutes to have a nice cook. and then we'll come back and add the broth and the tomato paste. Okay, now you can see I've let that cook for a little bit. It's really thickened up. Now we want to add our broth. I have 900 milliliters of broth. You want to do about 3 cups. It's a whole carton. And save an extra one on the side, because if it thickens up too much, you just add a little broth and it really cooks it in. So you want to get that broth in there. Make sure you mix it up. Now once you add the broth, we're going to do 4 tablespoons of tomato paste. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes, that was a really rough estimate. And we're going to mix all that in. That tomato paste is really going to help to cut that flavor in there. So you're just going to give that a nice mix. Mix it around. Perfect. And here's the best part. We're going to add some bay leaves, just like that. If you have some thyme, add some thyme, and then add your beef back in. All those juices and everything. So those juices add a ton of flavor. And if you have, you can take either a bundle of thyme and put it in, or just some fresh thyme. I didn't have any fresh thyme, so like a fresh bundle, but dried thyme will still add a nice little different flavor to it. Okay, we're gonna have it on for 2 hours. We're gonna put the lid on and let it slow cook, and when we come back, I'll show you the results. Okay, so we are officially done. This is about 2 hours later. Now you can see it's decently thick, but it's not quite stew thickness. Now if this happens, add a little water and cornstarch or water and flour mixed together. Just do like a 1:1 ratio, like a tablespoon water, tablespoon flour, and that'll thicken it up. It'll also thicken up a little bit as it cools as well, but look how delicious that looks. And all made in this easy Ninja crock pot, 1 pan, nothing else needed. So let's do a little taste test. I know we need a little bit of beef here. The beef should be pretty much, oh yeah, it's super tender. Look at that. Look at that beef, very, very tender. Let's get some of that broth. You have to make this. You can use any crock pot, but you have to make this.